Welcome back, Forgotten Crimes fans. Today, we are delving into the case of Bernie Madoff, the man behind one of the largest financial frauds in history. A trusted figure on Wall Street, Madoff's Ponzi scheme defrauded investors of billions of dollars, leaving a trail of devastation that forever changed the world of finance. His story is one of greed, deception, and the shocking downfall of a financial titan. Bernard Lawrence Madoff was born on April 29, 1938, in Queens, New York, to a Jewish family of modest means. Madoff started his career in the early 1960s as a stockbroker after founding Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities LLC with his wife, Ruth. What began as a small, over-the-counter trading operation eventually grew into one of the most successful firms on Wall Street. Madoff built a reputation as a pioneer in electronic trading, and by the 1980s, his firm was managing billions of dollars in investments for wealthy individuals, institutions, and charitable organizations. His influence extended to prominent roles in financial regulatory bodies, including serving as chairman of Nasdaq. However, behind the scenes, Madoff was operating the largest Ponzi scheme the world had ever seen. Like Charles Ponzi nearly a century earlier, Madoff promised steady, high returns to his investors, which he achieved not through legitimate investments but by using the money from new clients to pay earlier ones. For years, Madoff's reputation as a financial genius shielded him from scrutiny. His firm's steady returns, often in the range of 10 to 12%, were seen as almost too good to be true, yet Madoff's status in the financial community and his careful cultivation of trust allowed him to keep the scheme going for decades. By the mid-2000s, Madoff's operation had attracted tens of billions of dollars from investors around the world. Many of his clients were high-profile figures, including celebrities, hedge funds, international banks, and even charitable foundations. Madoff's air of exclusivity made it seem like an honor to be accepted as one of his investors. He carefully selected clients and used word-of-mouth referrals, creating an aura of elitism around his firm. Investors, eager to benefit from Madoff's guaranteed returns, rarely questioned how he consistently beat the market. The scheme began to unravel in the financial crisis of 2008. As markets collapsed and investors demanded the withdrawal of their funds, Madoff found himself unable to cover the mounting requests. With no new inflows of money to sustain the Ponzi scheme, the house of cards quickly collapsed. On December 10, 2008, Madoff confessed to his sons, who were executives in his firm but unaware of the fraud, that the business was one big lie. The next day, his sons turned him into federal authorities, and Madoff was arrested shortly thereafter. The fallout was immense. Madoff's Ponzi scheme is estimated to have defrauded investors of around $65 billion, making it the largest financial fraud in history. Thousands of people lost their life savings, and many charities were forced to shut down due to the losses they incurred. The ripple effect spread through the global financial system, damaging trust in investment firms and the regulatory institutions that failed to detect Madoff's fraud for so long. In March 2009, Madoff pleaded guilty to 11 federal felonies, including securities fraud, money laundering, and perjury. During his court appearances, Madoff expressed remorse but was widely seen as unapologetic for the damage he had caused. In June 2009, he was sentenced to 150 years in prison, the maximum sentence allowable, sending a clear message about the severity of his crimes. Madoff's sons, Mark and Andrew, were never charged in connection to the scheme, but they suffered immense public scrutiny and personal devastation. Tragically, Mark Madoff took his own life in 2010, unable to escape the shame and stigma of his father's actions. The Madoff case also led to widespread criticism of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, and other financial regulators. Despite multiple warnings and investigations, Madoff's scheme had gone undetected for years. Whistleblowers like financial analyst Harry Markopolos had tried repeatedly to alert the SEC about Madoff's suspicious activities, but his concerns were largely ignored. The Madoff scandal exposed significant flaws in regulatory oversight and led to reforms aimed at preventing similar frauds in the future. Bernie Madoff's story is a sobering reminder of how unchecked greed and the illusion of trust can devastate lives. The sheer scale of his fraud, coupled with the trust he had cultivated over decades, allowed Madoff to deceive some of the most experienced investors in the world. While many have since rebuilt their lives, the emotional and financial scars left by Madoff's betrayal remain. Madoff spent the remainder of his life in federal prison, where he died on April 14, 2021, at the age of 82. Even in death, his name continues to evoke anger and sorrow among the victims of his scheme. Madoff's Ponzi scheme has become a symbol of financial deception on a grand scale, and his legacy serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of blind trust and the importance of rigorous financial oversight. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Forgotten Crimes. We love diving into the world of true crime, exploring the stories that grip the world and uncovering the details that make these cases so fascinating. If there's a case you're curious about or if you have any thoughts to share, let us know. Until next time, keep your curiosity alive, and remember, the world of crime is as complex as it is captivating.